Hello and welcome to Chicken for Breakfast, the podcast where we have the answer for one very simple question.
What's cooking?
I'm Max.
I'm Robby.
And today, he's gone.
Yeah.
I own the podcast now.
We miss you, Johnny.
Little memoriam here. Alright, enough of that. And if you missed our last video, just check right up there. And today, we're talking March Madness. And I know it's not a topic we talk about much, but we're talking about it as a lot of big upsets, and everyone thought it wouldn't go one way. So we'll be right back. All right, so Robby, how you been, man?
I've been good, man. I've been good.
That's a good thing because I remember you were on the Valentine's Day episode.
Yes.
That was a month ago.
That was a month ago.
That was a month ago.
Yeah.
That was crazy. We did actually film that on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, we did.
So it is crazy to think that was a month ago. So what you been up to, man?
Right now, just kind of winding up my time at OMS, Ohio Media School. Today we did mock interviews.
Was that?
Yeah, mock interviews, and you had to dress up and dress nice. We also did working on my podcast, the Hella Hilarious podcast too. Just after school stuff, trying to stay on top of my work, but everything's been good. Right.
I mean, that's all important. I graduated at the end of the month.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. But today, we're going to get into March Madness. I mean, it is the pinnacle of sports, I think, besides the Super Bowl.
Yes.
But
nothing's better than the Super Bowl.
Nothing's better than the Super Bowl. But this comes into a second
right.
place.
Okay.
Besides the NBA playoffs.
Right.
Those maybe.
That's what I'm waiting for.
Those come in a tight third.
Tight third? Okay.
Tight, close. But yeah, March Madness is where 64 Division I college basketball teams fight for the Division I championship. And it's been crazy. And the thing they do is make brackets so they'll win money. In 2013, this one 13-year-old kid had a perfect bracket. He picked every match correctly, and he picked the national champion. Wow. And the score.
That's a bracket for this year he picked?
No, 2013.
Oh, 2013, okay.
So yeah, it's basically, there's 4 regions, 16 teams in each, so 64 in total.
Okay.
It goes one faces 16, 2 versus 15, so it's basically the higher seed faces the lower
seed, like the NBA playoffs.
Pretty much.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, but there's been a lot of craziness going on behind it. If you watch one of the games between FDU, a 16 seed, beat a number 1 seed.
Yeah, I heard about that.
They beat Purdue, and the last 5 minutes of the game, I was watching it at dinner. No one could hit a shot.
Yeah. So
it was kind of crazy, but like, it goes into a topic I think me and Magic have previously talked about. It's like betting, like sports, and like we don't talk about sports much, but like recently, in a couple states on New Year's Day, sports betting became legal. So people have been betting on this for years, but it's a big. So like this one team got eliminated, right? And they were 4.5 over favorites, so they were to lose by 4.5.
Oh, okay.
And then
I'm glad you explained that. It's
right. So the over. It's like 4.5 negative 4.5. So it's projected though a team will win by 4.5 or lose. Okay. So if a team is plus, they'll lose by 4.5. If a team is minus, they'll win by 4.5. So it was 78-81, Gonzaga, and this is Gonzaga TCU. Yeah. And this one TCU player with 0.7 seconds left just shot the ball, put it on the hoop, and he scored. And he hit the over. He hit the 4.5 plus. So it's like another thing. Like people will go and like, is that success? We talked about this last week. Success. Right. Is that a successful thing in your life? You betting money on something and you winning money?
I wouldn't say so. I would say when you bet money, you're taking a chance. You're taking a big risk.
You're taking a big chance.
Because if you don't hit, you could lose everything.
So, right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I've heard about it. My one friend loves poker. Yeah. And he's putting money down and he's losing it left and right. And it's like, it's funny because like everybody once in a life gambles something and they win. Right. So it's just depends. But like March Madness, they do the brackets. The winner gets like $1 million or $5 million or $1 million. And there's no perfect brackets on the men's side left. There's only one on the women's side. Really? And here's how many. There was only out of 220 million brackets made for the men's, none are remaining. Out of 20 million women, there is one left. Women's brackets.
Wow. That is wild to even think about.
I know, and my women's bracket was 99.9% the other day. Until a team lost.
Yeah.
Screwed my bracket.
So you got all of them right except one.
Yeah. Thank you, Ole Miss. Thank you so much. But besides that, it comes down to a thing like teams, some people think they'll throw a game.
Right.
But that's not what they do. Mm-hmm. And this one player for Purdue, he said, after the game, after they lost to a 16 seed, Purdue was the number 1, so they're expected to go to the final. Mm-hmm. They were, what was it? The Purdue player said, I don't know if I'll be back next year. After what just happened, I don't know. So it's just like that. Like a team loses and you think you're going to go there to win.
Yeah.
You don't have to stay there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's a crazy thing.
Oh, yeah, that is crazy. Like you saying you don't have to stay at the tournament itself. They can just leave?
No, not that. They have to stay at the tournament.
Okay.
It's not, no, I'm saying like if they lose the game and they were a high seed and they say like after they lose to a lower seed, and like at Purdue, they were number 1, they lost to a 16.
Yeah. In
his post-game interview after the loss, he said, I don't know if I'll be back next year. I don't want to answer that question yet. So he's basically like, I'm debating on coming back now because I don't like teams that lose the 16 seeds in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know, man. It's just all for fun. Like, not the players, it's not for fun. Players are trying to win something. But
they're trying to win.
For the people, it's about the fun of creating a bracket. Like, my senior year of high school, me and my English teacher, with a whole bunch of friends, we all created a bracket. Yeah. Like, she printed out sheets, and we created a class bracket.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, okay. So
you guys really took it seriously.
We took it seriously. So it was like, what, 6 of us in the class at one day. We're like, let's just all create a bracket. So we created a class bracket, just the 6 of us. Yeah. And then we all created our own bracket. And we all conversed with each other, like, who's going to win this? No one picked an upset. Wow. Not one single team. But there were some games that did screw the bracket.
Oh, of course.
I had burned my bracket a day later because it was already broke.
Yeah.
But it just depends because people create like 20. The maximum amount you can make is 25. You can make 25 brackets. Wow. And like half the time, none of them win. So that's how it gets up to 20 million.
That can get pretty frustrating now. You wasting a lot of paper, like just going through.
Well, it's all online now.
Oh, it's online.
Yeah, you can. Okay. There's an app called the Tournament Challenge. No one really uses it until this time of year.
Oh, okay. Yep.
But it's like people will go in, they'll create as many brackets as they need, and it's fun for them, I guess. I mean, I created 3. Did any of them win? No. Did all of them get busted on the first day? Yes.
Yeah.
Did I have Purdue winning 2 of them?
Yes. Right. I mean, I think that's what makes March Madness because you watch it for the upsets.
You would exactly. Yeah. When I was watching it, I want to be a sports broadcaster when I have a career. Yeah. And Kevin Harlan.
Now he's like one of my favorites.
He is. Oh my goodness! Did you see what happened to him?
I seen that.
When Virginia Furman. He threw it away. He almost fell out of his chair.
Exactly.
Broadcasting that game.
My favorite was Jeff Van Gundy's reaction. He was like looking around like, what just happened?
You know UFC, like when someone gets knocked out, like yelling out,
yeah.
Like they all go, what just happened?
Yeah, he had the most like clueless look on his face.
Literally, the Virginia player threw it to the opposing team, and the opposing team shot it and scored.
And that's the thing about basketball. They always tell you, or coaches always tell you, never throw it underneath your own basket because it always ends up being a turnover.
Right.
And that's what he ended up doing. So.
Right. And he was double teamed, and I think if he threw it out of bounds, he would have gotten. Yeah. There would have been some foul.
I think in that situation he just panicked.
I don't think they had timeouts left either. It was like.
Okay.
It was like insanity. Like he was so crazy that he was holding his mic. He was like. And then he was like holding it to his face because he didn't want it to go anywhere. And then all of a sudden, he hits a shot and he's still on. Oh!
You have Bleacher Report on your phone?
I do.
That's when I seen it.
I had it on Twitter too. I was like, I first saw it on Twitter. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
He does football for CBS.
Oh yeah, football for CBS.
Yeah, he does basketball and football for CBS.
I was actually watching that game live with Ben, J-Mo, and who else was there? Ben, J-Mo, and myself. I think it was one other person, but anyway, watching that live, and I didn't see the actual shot happen. I was on my way to do the podcast, and they were like, just jumped up like, ah!
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
like, what just happened? Yeah, so.
Yeah. But I mean, if you were to predict of the final 16, who's gonna win?
Who is going to win? Well, you got to refresh my memory. Well, you got to refresh my memory. Who's all in the tournament right now?
2 number 1 seeds, Alabama and Houston.
Okay.
Number 2 is UCLA, Gonzaga are gonna play each other.
Okay.
Who else? Creighton, San Diego State, Florida Atlantic University, Kansas State, Texas, Xavier.
I did watch. You mentioned Kansas State. I watched Kansas State and Kentucky play. Was that Kansas State? I believe it was.
Yeah. Kansas State and Kentucky.
Yeah, that was a good game.
Kentucky hasn't been to the Sweet 16 since 2019.
Yeah. They didn't have a good team. They didn't have their typical Kentucky team like John Calipari normally has. So, if I say who would I pick to win, I like Gonzaga. They always have a good program.
I mean, they haven't won it for a little. I don't think they've won it. In all the years they've been to the Final Four or the championship, they've never won it.
Yeah. Is Arizona still in it?
No.
They lost.
They lost to Princeton.
I heard about that.
Princeton, a New Jersey team.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have to say Gonzaga. I mean, that's as far as a Power 5 Division I school.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts?
No, man. That's pretty. Let me see. So you mentioned before we got on the show that Willis Reed passed away at 80 years old.
Yes.
So, condolences to his family. He's like a New York legend. So
the Knicks.
Yeah, the Knicks, man. Willis Reed. Sometimes on NBA TV they'll play that Willis Reed call where he had an injury and he came back on the court and played and finished the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, R.I.P. to him.
Yeah. All right. Well, I like cheering for breakfast.
I do too.
And at the end of the day, we hope you will too. See you, everybody.
See you next time.